This is Alex from Fallujah. You're watching Metal Wani.
How are you doing, Alex?
Good. It's not fucking 100 degrees, so I'm stoked.
Yeah, but so you guys just come out with a new album today, and you're playing at Summer Slaughter. So how's everything going?
So far, like, I don't know, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, last few days, yeah, everyone's just been melting because it's been so hot, but we're stoked to be. And we haven't come to Albuquerque in almost a year, I think it's been since we've been out here. So we're stoked to come back here, and the venue looks pretty sweet. So yeah, last few days have been great.
Great. So you guys have played for 7 days already, and you have like another 3 weeks to go. So what are the things that you're really looking forward to, and what has happened that's really exciting? And
I mean, we're definitely excited to hit the East Coast because like I love going to places like Philly and New York City, and we're going to Worcester, Mass, which would be cool. Yeah, just kind of like seeing friends we know everywhere, like a lot of homies, and there's a lot of homies on this tour, which is awesome. I'm actually most excited for the second leg of the tour, the Canadian leg, going back to places like Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton. Like, we just do really well in those cities, so I think the shows are going to be awesome.
So, something about the new album? I mean, it's...
Yeah, it comes out today. The pre-orders are looking pretty good. The hype has been kind of like non-stop building. We've been selling a shitload of CDs at the shows.
You guys came out with a single a few...
Yeah. We've had a few singles put out beforehand. Really tried to push it pretty hard. Within the Ruins also has another album that comes out today. We're on tour with them, so we're both kind of on the same hype right now as having a record release today, and a lot of good reviews from everyone. So playing the songs live has also been really great.
So are you gonna play tracks from the new album today?
Yeah. The sets today, unfortunately, are all cut by 5 minutes. So like the first. How many bands? Play for like 15 minutes. Like that's how much time we got today. So we're playing 2 new songs and 1 old one. So you get kind of like a taster, an appetizer, if you will.
Yeah. So we can't wait for it.
Yeah. We'll have to come back around and we can actually play for more than 15.
So there's like Summer Slaughter, and then are you guys planning to do more touring after that with the new album?
Yeah. We're going to we're doing a little West Coast thing after this, in between this and Europe, and then we're doing Europe in the winter time with. Goat Whore and Dying Fetus, which will be awesome. We've been trying to get back to Europe since we were there last year, and right now it's all kind of talk about early next year, all like speculation, things are being put together, talked about. For us, a lot of things that matters. Of course, that first week sales. So next week when that comes out, that'll define a lot. But yeah, we're trying to be on the road as much as humanly possible next year.
So do you have India anywhere on your list?
Absolutely. I'd love to go to India. I would just eat my face off the whole fucking time. I love Indian food. Yeah, honestly, when I think about countries that we're going to, whether it's like Thailand or Indonesia or like Japan, it's like I don't even acknowledge like the scene or the music. I just think about what I'm going to eat when I'm there. And I think the rest of the band can probably follow suit too, where it's like we just like how much we like a place is sometimes determined by like food options and like what kind of like good local cuisine they have. So yeah, I want to go to India very bad in that case.
So is that the best thing for you about touring, or what else is what do you enjoy?
Traveling, honestly, is like kind of like the reason why I'm into it, aside from of course playing music. But yeah, like going able to like explore. I mean, some places more than others are interesting to explore, especially like that's why I like going to Europe is you tend to be on a bus and you tend to have a driver and you can kind of go do what you want. So yeah, for me, traveling, and then of course like just meeting people and hanging out, partying is kind of why I like to do it. Not necessarily a lot of people on this tour are a lot of partiers, but I like to hang out with fans and drink beers and have a good time.
So you guys are playing a tour now, and then you're doing a show. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer doing solo shows where you get more time to play, or do you like festivals where you're actually playing with a lot of other bands?
It kind of depends. I mean, they're 2 very different things. I mean, I like playing maybe our own shows because the money tends to be better and the merch competition is less. But I also love playing, big ass festival tours or festivals in and of themselves because the crowds are great, a lot more active, sometimes a lot more energy. They kind of serve 2 different purposes. They're 2 very different things. I mean, when we do headliners, we don't really make a big deal out of it. We kind of keep kind of underground and DIY. Like whenever we do our own little one-off headliners, I usually book them myself. So having actual tours where you're with a lot of other bands, it's a different kind of music experience and touring experience.
Okay, so you guys have been around for quite a while now. So you've seen a lot of good things happen, a lot of bad things happen. So what do you like about what's been happening in the industry, and what do you hate? Like,
I like that there's new bands that are kind of challenging the status quo. I like that there's a lot of like young kids coming up in bands, kind of like with their middle fingers in the air, like saying like, "Fuck you! This is what kids like, and we're gonna make it." I like that kind of stuff. I like that attitude. I kind of like the rhetoric of that. What I hate is the cynicism of the fan base. There's a lot of tribalism and a lot of kind of herd mentalities that come along with this kind of music, and that's always going to be the biggest hindrance to its growth, I think. But I mean, it's kind of hard to put a stamp on it. There's a lot of really cool things about the metal scene. There's a lot of really bad things about it, good and bad in ways that maybe other genres don't experience. But yeah, I think when you're in a touring band and you go out there, you kind of really begin to understand what the scene is like. You kind of really begin to understand what it's like to be in a band, what your fan base really is, especially when you see all kinds of it by touring with multiple kinds of bands outside of your genre, whether it's touring with bands that are 20 years older than you, playing to old school cats, like as opposed to like playing with a scene kid band that plays breakdowns all day. They're two very different fan groups, and they're two very different mentalities, and so I think it's really important and conducive to get out with all kinds of bands to really begin to.
What's your favorite band at the Summer Slaughter apart from Fallujah?
I'm gonna have to say Goat Whore, because I don't know, I think they're one of the more unique bands on the tour, and we've like toured with them before, and they have great live tone, great stage presence. Their whole show is really interesting, so I think they stand out to me for sure.
So they just came out with a new album too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I actually honestly I kind of heard about it like right before we left for tour, so I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, but I'll pull it up on Spotify or something soon.
Yeah. So what is the best thing about Summer Slaughter? Like it's one of the most famous touring festivals that happen around. Yeah. So
I mean, I think one of the cool things about it is it kind of provides a platform for people to hear a lot of different kinds of metal, because most bands for the most part tend to stick within their own genre, whereas Summer Slaughter, it's like you can kind of see like an old school like brutal death metal band, you can see a tech death band, you can see a metalcore band, or like a deathcore band, or like black metal bands. You can see them all kind of like meshed into one package. So I think for kids who are interested in broadening their horizons, they have a lot of opportunities to do that.
So 10 years, what is the difference in Alex 10 years back and 10 years if you had to compare?
Sorry, say that again?
If you had to compare yourself 10 years back and 10 years now.
10 years back, I probably would have punched myself in the face, honestly. Like, I hate my 10-year ago self. Yeah, my whole worldview was completely different. I had, very little traveling under my belt, and the band's allowed me a lot of that. It's kind of just through growing up. Like, I mean, 10 years ago, Fallujah wasn't even a band, and if you would have asked me 10 years ago whether I would, be 23 sitting in Albuquerque, New Mexico, playing Summer Slaughter, like, probably wouldn't have thought that was a possibility. But I don't know, I think it's cool that things have kind of gone the way they have. Yeah, it's hard to know what my mentality would have been like 10 years ago, to be able to compare myself to it.
So you guys are probably one of the youngest bands playing here. So basically you've been a part of the industry, you've been exposed very young. So how do you think that changed you as a person?
Because you kind of grow up and mature with the band. You kind of grow up and mature with the touring mentality, where it's like you kind of look back and you're like, wow, your worldview was shaped from a very young age. Most people wait till they're either till the end of college or like in their 20s and 30s when they can afford to go travel. It's like I saw the majority of the Western world before I was even old enough to drink. Like it's kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I mean, I think it certainly shapes what I care about. It shapes my conversations that I have off tour. It shapes, all my experiences, or those are experiences that you're gonna be able to have aside from just the band. So yeah, I think it's definitely developed who I am now.
So if you weren't a musician, what would you be?
Something making probably more money. Hopefully. That's a tough question. I mean, I do graphic design for bands. I always have, like, I do the majority of Falluja's artwork, so I probably would be doing something in that vein. Yeah, that's a hard question too. That ties in with the last one. If I wasn't doing Fallujah, like I was saying, same thing with like the question 10 years back. I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say what I'd be doing.
So you're actually doing what you would do irrespective of everything in the world?
Probably. I don't know. That's a tough one. Life takes you in many different paths, you know. So all I know is that I am doing this right now. So that's all I can do.
So if you weren't in Fallujah, if it wasn't your band and you were at Summer Slaughter watching them, what would you think of them?
Fuck, I don't even know, dude. I mean, I think we're pretty good live, so I'd probably be like, hey, this band's pretty good. I like our music, so I'd probably think they make really good music.
I could probably be a better vocalist than
yeah, maybe. It's like, fuck, that guy sucks. That lame-ass haircut. Yeah, I don't know what I would think of my own band. Because, you know, initially you want to say something like, whether you like them or not, but then you're kind of like tooting your own horn. But then when I talk shit about my own band, like, not really. I think, I don't know, Fallujah is my favorite kind of metal band, so it's hard to say what I would say if I was in the crowd watching them. I'd probably be a lot more judgmental. I'd probably be picking apart the details and be just like, you know, he's not that good, you know, stuff like that.
So I'm going to ask you another question about your album. How is this album different from the other albums that you guys have come out with?
It's just better. It's more focused. It makes more sense. The songs have way more powerful emotional impacts. It's like anything, you know. Every band tries to write an album that was better than the last one, and I think we did that. You know, Harvest Wounds was better than Leper Colony. Leper Colony was better than our demos. We just constantly try to outdo ourselves, and the new album just is really more emotive, way more atmospheric, way more kind of deep, and it's got more substance to it, and we're really excited.
What do you feel about the internet downloading music for free and all of that? What are your views on it?
I mean, it sucks, and you make us all poor, but other than that, what am I going to do about it? Like, I mean, I use Spotify, so I'm almost just as bad, because, you know, I pay $10 a month for money to really not go into anyone's pocket. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to stop it. You will not be able to stop music from being downloaded, no matter how many college kids you sue. But the reality is that being in a band would be a lot easier if you could actually have a sizable, you know, record royalty check come in.
So have you ever downloaded anything illegally?
Yeah, dude. I had Napster when I was like 10 years old. Like, of course I have. Absolutely. But I also bought CDs, and I buy vinyl, and I buy merch, and I go out and support bands. So, you know, like, I mean, I'm the kind of guy who will download it on mine and then buy the record if they put it on vinyl, because I like vinyl. But yeah, that's specifically. The vast majority of kids will just download it for free and then maybe buy a shirt.
So what does the world look like through your eyes? If you had to describe the world through your eyes.
Well, Albuquerque, New Mexico right now looks hot, a little cloudy, chance of rain. Other than that, I don't know. The world's a complex place, so it depends where you're looking. If you're looking at, you know, Rwanda or Sub-Saharan Africa, it probably looks pretty shitty right now. But if you look at Dolores Park in San Francisco, it probably looks lovely. So it depends where you're looking.
So we know San Francisco is your favorite place.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been everywhere, dude. I fucking love San Francisco.
You haven't been to India yet.
I'm waiting. I am open-minded to have my life changed by India. If I can make it happen, I'm down.
So do you have anything to say to our fans back in India?
The album's out today. Tell your promoters to make it happen, to get us to come over there. Because really it's a matter of cost is always the biggest thing for everything. So tell your promoters to bring us out. We will play fucking anywhere.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.